Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're in the middle of the desert, but a lot of you have noticed that while it is warm right now during the day, at nighttime it gets quite cold. And because it gets quite cold, there are several things that I personally have been using to keep warm. I think it's super important to have a strategy for your journeys and where you will be traveling, but these are my suggestions. Starting off, keeping your body physically warm while in the van is super important, and it isn't always the hardest thing to do, despite what you might think. If you are new to my channel, you probably have not seen this yet, but inside this van right here, my 2020 NV200, I have zero insulation. Zero. So that means that I have to do a little bit of extra planning on my part in order for me to stay nice and cozy on those cold nights. Now with that said, I've camped in some pretty cold conditions. In fact, on this very trip that I'm on right now, it was 9 degrees one night, and believe it or not, I stayed warm. Opening up the van, and here is my bed. Now on my bed, you'll see a variety of different kinds of textures and fabrics and things like that. One of the things that I do is I always carry with me a couple of extra blankets to lay under if it's kind of chilly, where I can place them on top of my big heavy blanket, but the real magic comes underneath. Right here we have 2 wool blankets that actually are moisture wicking, which keep you feeling more cozy. Now what I do is I physically make them into my bed because I don't always need them, but when I do, this comes in handy because then I can either lay between the two or I can lay on top of them. This forms an additional barrier onto my mattress itself, and it makes it just so much more toasty. Now there are lots of different kinds of wool blankets, and you don't have to select just one. I will be adding all the things that I use personally in the comments below in case you're interested in them, but I have found that not all wool blankets have to cost an arm and a leg. In fact, the ones that I have right here were less than $10. So 2 blankets, less than $10 for a cozy night's sleep. Oh yeah. Something else that I have found recently, in fact a suggestion from my dear friend Lady Bug Out, she actually has a device that she uses in her van that has been quite handy. And it's kind of cute too. She actually picked this little water bottle up that all you have to do is pour some warm water into it at nighttime, and then it just heats up your entire existence. It is so cozy. Now this is something that, because of the sleeve, you can actually put inside of your sweatshirt with you and grab onto, or you can put it at the foot of your bed and it'll just keep your whole bed a little bit more toasty at night. So this thing is definitely a win in my book. Now as I am in my van every night and the weather starts to get a little bit more cozy, I just put on a little hat kind of like this. In fact, the hat traps in all of your heat, which is the main place that you typically lose your body heat. So by keeping your head warm, you keep your whole body a bit more warm, and that is also very good. But on super cold nights, I also wear wool socks and also gloves. Gloves and socks help the other areas where you lose the most body heat keep that body heat in. So you can definitely get cozy that way, and it works for me, so it'll work for you.
But Bunny, what about my fingers? If they're freezing cold, how are the gloves even gonna help? Because I can't get them warm in the first place.
And that's when hand warmers come into play. Hand warmers come in many shapes and sizes, but the ones that I typically use are these. They're simple. These right here you can find at your regular everyday Walmart or sporting goods store, and all you do is simply open them up, shake them a little bit, and the air actually activates them. I like to use these whenever I have on gloves, and I'll just put them onto my gloves just right inside here, and that keeps my hands a little bit more warm. But also, if I'm wearing a hoodie or something with pockets, I can put them inside the pockets, and they keep me cozy at my core all night long.
But what is this? What is this little guy right here? You said hand warmer. What is this?
This little guy right here is a hand warmer also, but it's a USB chargeable hand warmer, and it comes in handy for sure. I've actually taken this out whenever I've gone to some super cold places to go sightseeing, because sometimes you just want to be able to adjust the heat and turn it down just a little bit, and with this you can. Let me show you how it works. This little device right here has a button, and when you hold down this button, it will turn it on. There are a series of lights that will light up when it's all charged up, and it'll show you blue or for red. You're looking for red for heat, and that will activate. If you found red, there's a couple of settings. So 1 and 2. You're looking for 2 if you want to be warm. You're looking for 1 if you just kind of want that nice coziness. On this side right here, this is where you can actually charge it. It plugs into your regular power station, or you can charge it when you're at base camp, and it has about 6 hours of heating to it. So it's not the longest device, but it definitely works really well. But what am I looking for if I'm not wanting to just keep my physical body warm? What if I want my van to be warm? What do I do then? Well, in these instances, we turn to the inside and to our power station. Our power station can actually give us something that none of those other devices can. It can give us a physical heater. For the physical heater to work, all we do is we take our plug in and physically plug it into the jackery, right onto the AC side like so. Then we flip the switch and on it goes. And as you can see here, we can tell how much it is pulling. Now, I will say this, for you to have a heater that is this size, you do need at least 1,000 watts of power that you can use. Now you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that's going to just suck the life right out of my power station because it's running at like 400, 600, 700 watts. But the nice thing about this particular heater right here is that it only needs to actually be turned on for a few minutes in a space like this. I have a tiny little van, guys. Now that's not gonna keep it heated all night. Remember that. There is a difference between being able to heat up the space and keeping it warm. I don't recommend anything that has propane and has an actual burning cell in a van like mine. That's me personally, and if that's not your journey, it's okay. But for me, I felt more comfortable using something like this because I can control how long it stays on with a timer should I fall asleep, but also I know it gets very warm very quickly, and I have the power to give, so I might as well. Now, for those of you who are wondering what it's called a handy heater, and it's tiny and absolutely handy, and I'm really glad that I happened upon this. Funny story on how I found it. When I was at Vanarchy, somebody came up and said, hey, so I have a small van like you. I'm looking to get a power station. Can this run on it? And I said, let's try. When we tried it out, it did in fact run off of the Jackery Explorer 1000, so in my book, I immediately went and purchased this item because it's genius. As you can see, guys, there are many ways that you can heat your van and yourself whenever you're traveling. These are the ones that are working for me currently, and I've tried a couple of others along the way. Now, I am fortunate in that I haven't had any kind of crazy condensation despite having 0 insulation. I have in fact learned that just a little bit of heat and a whole lot of love can fix everything. And so, with that said, those are the manners for which I have not only stayed warm, but also not had a real big problem with condensation, even during the coldest nights during the winter. It has been fabulous. And I have to say, if you guys have any other suggestions, I would love to know what they are so I can try them out myself. And so send them to me by commenting below. Till next time, guys, bye!